Hey, Colin here, aka the Mindset Guy, with today's video, which was inspired by this email that I got from Kelly. It goes, "Hello Colin, thank you for posting your videos. I really enjoy watching them. You're really good at making ideas easy to understand. I'm quite new to personal development and I understand how important it is that I'm a positive person, which I'm not a lot of the time. So I wanted to ask you, what's the most important thing to work on to make myself more positive?" Well, that's what I want to share with you in this video because it's what I call become a no complaint person. And I know that sounds really easy, but as we'll see, it's really not. I'm going to share with you how to do that. Now, in order to get any change in our life, we've got to focus on things that we can do every single day. Because it's things we do every single day that create our habits. Make those changes every day can make a big difference. Now, complaining is something we're all guilty of doing, right? We complain about the weather, it's too hot, it's too cold. We complain about traffic or travel, the airline or the train was late again. We complain about one another, family members, friends, right? We can literally complain about anything and everything. In fact, we even complain about our bed, don't we? You know, I got out the wrong side of the bed this morning. So it's the bed's fault that I'm a bit grouchy today, you know? So we're brilliant at it. Now, why is it important that we look at complaining? Well, think, feel, speak, act. So we think, we feel, we then speak and we act, which affects the way that we think and feel, which affects what we speak and we act. So we can get ourselves into a bit of a negative spiral here. And this is what complaining basically does. Now let's define what I mean by complaining, right? A complaint, as my definition, is any time I'm with somebody and I verbalize a discomfort or a dislike, and one, the person I'm doing that to can't do anything about it, can't change it, or two, I don't offer a solution or take action to move it forward, then it's a complaint. So if I give you an example, my wife and I went for a coffee a little while ago, and it was a new waitress, and she delivered the coffee and it all looked good until we tasted it and we realized actually it's cold, it's not even warm, and we like it really hot. Now I went in, said to the, this is cold and we'd like it hotter please, and can you warm it up, just take this and really warm it up. Now why is that not a complaint? Well, because the person I'm speaking to can actually do something about it. What would have been a complaint is if we would have sat at the table together and said, "Oh, that waitress, she's hopeless, isn't she? She's obviously new, she hasn't got a clue what she's doing. I mean, how could she deliver a cold coffee? I mean, everyone knows that coffee's supposed to be at least warm, right?" And then did nothing about it. That's a complaint. And all of us are somewhere on this spectrum. So at this end of the spectrum is the complainer, the true complainer, the energy vampire, the mood hoover, the person that can suck energy out of a conversation. You bump into them and go, "How's it going?" You go, "It's going great." And they go, "Well, that won't last," right? And at the other end of the spectrum, we've got the aimer, the person that's more proactive, that's more solution oriented, that's always taking action towards making something better, right? Now, all of us are somewhere on this spectrum here. So my first question to you is, where is your resting position? Where is your resting position? Because some days you're probably here and more here, and some days you're probably more at this end, but actually we all have a resting position. Where's yours? Now, I bet you don't know. How can I say that? Well, here's why. Because complaining is a socially accepted thing to do. In fact, if we bump into someone that doesn't like to complain, then they're weird, right? So it's the norm. It's just normal to complain. So often we don't realize how often we do it. And I'm going to come back to this. Now let me give you 4 reasons why it's not good for us and then 3 steps to take. So the 4 reasons are, firstly, attention. If we're complaining, we're focused on what's not working. Now, I don't know if you've heard that saying, where attention goes, energy flows. So if I'm focused on what's not working, then I'm moving energy to what's not working. And energy is a precious resource. In fact, attention is really our ultimate creative power. When we put our attention on what we do want, then we use that power, that energy, to create more of it. And when we're putting our attention on what we don't want, then we're using that power in a very negative way. Secondly, stuck and distracted. Complaining keeps us stuck and distracted. It keeps us stuck because we're focused on what's not working. And we're all masters of distraction. We're all good at distracting ourselves. And complaining is one way of distracting ourselves. It wastes time, it wastes or energy, energy drains us, or we drain energy, but also keeps us stuck in an illusion. Because the number 3 here, complaining causes us to be a victim and stuck in a victim mentality. And when we're victims, we're powerless. We're not powerful, we're powerless. We make someone else responsible for our happiness and for our success. And complaining also causes us to play small, to play the small game. We've each got an ego, and the ego loves to be right. So when you complain, it feels right. I feel right. But actually, it keeps us inside our comfort zones. It doesn't cause us to get outside of those comfort zones. And when we stop complaining, we basically hand over control to the bigger, the wiser, the more creative part of ourselves to move our life in the direction that we want. So there's 4 reasons why complaining isn't good for us. Now let's look at 3 steps in order to turn this around. So first step, and I recommend taking these steps, is just to build awareness. Become aware of how often you complain. Use something like one of these bracelets here, that every time you complain, just put it onto the other hand. Just become aware of how often you complain and be surprised. You may be very surprised how often you complain. Secondly, then do that for a while, and you'll know when it's right to move to the second step, which is what I call backsliding. Backslide is where you start complaining and then you backslide into a solution. You offer a solution. And there's a little word that we can use to do that, and that's and. So let's say that I give you an example. I'm in my office in a company, and I say, oh God, Gary just makes me so mad every time he comes in, all he does is he just whinges the whole time, complain. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down with Gary and explain to him the impact that has when he does that and what I would like him to do differently. Solution. And then take action. So you backslide into the solution. That's with a little and. That's step 2. So you start doing that. You start to condition yourself in turning it around to a solution. Problem, complain, solution. Problem, complain, solution. And then step 3, and this is the ultimate challenge. You make a decision, you put a line in cement, and you say from this day forward, and give yourself a period of time. I'd say start with a day, a 24-hour period. I'm not going to complain at all. No words are going to pass my lips that are going to be complaints. And then away you go. Now, if you're doing it for 24 hours and you complain, then you have to start back from scratch. You always start back from scratch. This is the ultimate mental training. This is the toughest workout you can possibly get. And then go from a day to 3 days, from 3 days to a week onwards. And you constantly train yourself. Now this sounds easy, but you'll see with step 1 awareness and step 2 backsliding that actually it's quite tough. It's quite difficult. But the power when you do it is incredible, because now you really are focusing on positive, thinking positive, feeling positive, speaking positive, acting positive. And if you do that more often than not, in fact, research shows, I think it was, most people complain between 15 and 30 times a day. 15 and 30 times a day, they're negative, negative, negative. I've been there, so I'll put my hand up to it, right? But if we turn that around and we eliminate most of that negativity and we start speaking and acting, how can it not make a powerful difference, a big difference in our lives? So there we go. So you've got your actions. Leave me some feedback. Let me know what you think. 1 being not very good, 10 being really good. I'd love to hear from you, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Hold on. Now, did you enjoy that video? Well, if you did, I would like to show you how you can train your mind to perform how you want it to, so that you can break through to the next level with my advanced mind power training. It's totally free, and you can get it by going to www.advancedmindpowertraining.com or clicking on the link below this video. I'll see you on the next video.